It is a chilly morning in Worcester, and we are here for the Central Massachusetts Division IV championship game, Fitchburg versus Tantasqua, here on FATV. I'm John Gugerty. Dave Clark and Mike Flynn could not be with us today. We couldn't think of a better replacement, though, than my good friend Dan Bolak. Dan, welcome to Fitchburg High School football.
Thank you very much, John. I've been watching Red Raider football on FATV for about 20 years now.
And now you get to call it.
For the first time, I get to call a game featuring the Red Raiders here on FATV. I wouldn't have missed this game for the world.
It is a very important game indeed. It is the Division IV championship once again, and there are stakes beyond that for the winner of this game. Why don't we go over those in brief, Dan?
All right, so the Central Mass Division IV Championship, as we see here, Fitchburg and Tantasqua meeting for the second time this season. The winner of this game will go to the state semifinal, where they will take on the South champion, which is Plymouth South, the Panthers, 9-1. That game will be on November 23rd, somewhere in southeastern Massachusetts.
Probably not actually Plymouth.
We do not expect it to be Plymouth, and by the time you watch this, presumably we'll know the location.
Hopefully. You know, there is also the small matter that we are not live, where you folks at home are, it is Sunday, and we are in the dim and distant past where it is Saturday. But, so, the winner of the Plymouth South game against the winner of this game will then have a Thanksgiving game 4 days later, because we're getting into that part of the world. And then, the first weekend of December, will come the Super Bowl. We don't yet know if that will be Friday the 6th or Saturday the 7th. Obviously, however, we do know the opponent.
We do know the opponent. They would be the North champions, the Red Raiders of Melrose High School.
So we could be in for a Raider-Raider matchup.
Yes, we could be.
And that would be very cool.
It would be very infuriating for the announcers who get that game, but it would be very cool for Fitchburg High School if they could get there.
Obviously. Now, both of those teams won last night, Melrose and Plymouth South. Basically, the way the Division IV is structured is there are only 3 regions at the Division IV level. So each year, there's a rotating cycle determined before the season of which divisional champion gets the automatic bye to Gillette. This year, Melrose got lucky. So Melrose has their Thanksgiving matchup and then the championship, and that's it.
Indeed. And next year, it'll be Central Mass that'll get that bye.
So next year, if the Raiders, as they won last week, if they win that game, then, well, if they win the division championship, rather, which is this game, next year scenario, they're going to Gillette.
Yep.
This year, not so much. One more game.
Just luck of the draw as it comes down to.
But, of course, we are getting ahead of ourselves because first, in order to play for the chance to Gillette, they have to get to that game. And to get to that game, they have to go through Tantasqua.
And that may be a bit of a challenge, especially for the Red Raiders, who have already played Tantasqua earlier this year and fell by a score of 17-10. That game was right here on FATV back on September the 20th from historic Crocker Field.
We did have that game way back in September, and to my eye, Dan, this is a different Fitchburg squad over the past few weeks. The defense has stiffened. We've seen the Raider offense not necessarily come alive, but more, get the job done when they absolutely needed to. You go back to the game November the 1st against Westboro, the 29-27 overtime victory. Aside from, those 27 points and 28 points way back on the first weekend of the season, the Raider defense hasn't allowed more than 16.
Indeed, they've only allowed 12.8 points per game across the entire season. They've recorded 3 shutouts, including most recently last week in the Division IV semifinal against Neshoba. And that was an impressive display of defense from the Red Raiders, holding the Chieftains to just 96 yards of offense.
That was a fantastic performance by the Raider defense. Fitchburg won that game without completing a pass. How often can you say that? Montgomery Graham 0 of 5 throwing the ball. Raider offense only got 7 points on the board against Neshoba, but that was 7 more than Neshoba got, so that got the job done.
I think the most amazing thing about the offense in that game, do you know how many first downs they had in that contest?
I'm guessing very few.
4.
That's not very many. That is, in fact, few.
It's very difficult to win a game when you only are able to stop the clock and move the chains 4 times in a contest. But Fitchburg was able to do that last week because their defense was so stout. It's shades of the 2014 team that won the Central Mass Championship. The Red Raiders getting it done with defense. And when they were last in a Central Mass Championship game back in 2014, back in the confines of Doyle Field, taking on the Leominster Blue Devils, that game ended 7-0. It was the defense that stood tall in that one.
And of course, folks, we do want to mention there is still, no matter what happens today, Thanksgiving is still on. Thursday, November 28th, 10 a.m. kickoff, historic Crocker Field in Fitchburg. The Raiders will once again face the Blue Devils of Leominster. But there may be more important football yet to come. This game, maybe another game, will determine that. Teams are just about ready to head to midfield for the coin toss. Before they do that, we want to thank our football underwriters who bring this and every game to you here on FATV. And they include IC Credit Union, located at 300 Bemis Road in Fitchburg, North End Subaru, 757 Chase Road in Lunenburg, Romano's Market, 138 Harvard Street in Fitchburg, the Grand Rental Station, 88 Massachusetts Avenue in Lunenburg.
We also have the Neshoba Valley Medical Center, 200 Groton Road in Ayer, Red Apple Farm, 455 Highland Ave in Phillipston, and Fitchburg State University, located at 160 Pearl Street in Fitchburg.
As well as sprawling all over North Street and much of downtown. And I can't slam Fitchburg State. They're a very good place, but they have a lot of locations. But the headquarters is at 160 Pearl Street in Fitchburg.
Today's district championship tilt pits the second-seeded Warriors from Tantasqua Regional and the top-seeded Fitchburg High School Red Raiders. The home team today on the scoreboard and on the near sideline is the top-seeded Red Raiders from Fitchburg, who enter today with a 7-2 record. The Warriors also come into today with a 7-2 record and are seeded second, and will be on the far sideline and will be represented on the scoreboard as the visitors. Heading to the coin toss as captains for Tantasqua are senior number 4 Ryan Sears, senior captain number 38 Liam Gore, senior number 52 Kyle Boone, and senior number 67 Noah Galanic. The captains today for the Red Raiders are number 1 Montgomery Graham, number 5 D Jones, number 8 Dylan Araujo, and number 18 Giovanni Moroni. The head coach today for Tantasqua is Mr. John Hargis. He's assisted by John LaRue, Nate Orzik, Curtis Orlick, Tony Salvaggio, Andy Caswell, and Pete Cassine. The head coach today for Fitchburg is Mr. Tom DiGeronimo.
The Raiders have won the toss, and they will receive the opening kickoff. Saw the captains introduced. Do want to point out it is Dylan Araujo for the Raiders. You know, that we don't get the friendly home pronunciations of Crocker Field here at Foley Stadium in Worcester. But Dan, it feels good. It's an important game. It's a beautiful day out. Clear blue skies. We don't know what it's like for you folks in the future. Maybe Sunday's weather is bad, but Saturday, it was gorgeous.
This past Wednesday, November 13th, the Worcester Fire Department, the City of Worcester, and the Doherty Memorial High School community lost one of its own in Lieutenant Jason Menard, who passed away after fighting a 4-alarm fire on Stockholm Street. Menard, who wore number 79 while a football player for Doherty High School, was a 1999 graduate of Doherty. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask all in attendance to please rise and observe a moment of silence for the Worcester Fire Department, the Menard family, and of course the 39-year-old lieutenant who paid the ultimate sacrifice, Jason Menard. Thank you. And at this time, I ask all in attendance to please rise, remove your caps, and face the flag as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem by the Fitchburg High School Band.
This is the 2019 MIAA Division IV Central Championship game here on FATV. The Red Raiders of Fitchburg High School taking on the Warriors of Tantasqua. John Gugerty here with you, as always, joined today by Dan Bolak. Dan, this is one of the most important football games we've had here on FATV.
Indeed. And it's wonderful we were able to make the trip down here to Worcester to get to call a game here from historic Foley Stadium.
We do want to grudgingly thank the MIAA for allowing us to broadcast this game eventually, but we do, in all seriousness, we do thank them for the opportunity to be here. Before kickoff, we also want to give special thanks to Travis Falk and Jared Roberts, who have made the trip from FATV, from Fitchburg, down here to Worcester. Jared is running our camera today. Travis is handling the audio as well as all of the technical setup. As always, they do fantastic work. And we are underway here at Foley Stadium in Worcester. Devin Barasano receives the opening kickoff for the Raiders. Tantasqua believes the ball is loose, and they have it. First play of the game, Tantasqua recovers a fumble on the opening kickoff, and they will have it at the Fitchburg 28-yard line. A huge start to this one, Dan.
Annoying shades of deja vu for the Red Raiders. The first play from scrimmage when they played them on September the 20th, the Red Raiders lost the ball in a fumble. This time they do it one worse, losing it on a kickoff. So Tantasqua will get to start with the ball first and third quarter.
First down and 10 for Tantasqua at the Raider 28. Carry to the near side. The ball comes loose, but he was down by contact before that.
Down behind the line of scrimmage.
It was Dominic Brown with the carry for the Warriors. Dante Reno is the quarterback for Tantasqua. We'll see a lot of Brown. We'll see Ryan Sears as well. Liam Gore will additionally get carries out of the backfield for Tantasqua. Again, folks who watched us back in September, you may remember those names. They did a lot of work. Was Dominic Brown got the carry on first down, lost about 3. Call it now second down and 13 for the Warriors from the Fitchburg 31. Handoff goes to Sears, and he is blown up in the backfield. That was Jesus Padilla coming from the right outside linebacker spot, I believe. Came in pretty much untouched. Call it no gain. Now, Dan, the Raider defense has a chance to make a big stop here. 3rd and 13 from their own 31.
Already Tantasqua learning that this game's not going to go quite as easily as the first game did 2 months ago.
It is a very different Raiders squad, a defense that hasn't allowed points in weeks, and they don't feel like starting now. 3rd and 13 for the Warriors. You see them coming to the line in the yellow jerseys, dark pants, green helmets. Fitchburg, of course, in the crimson and white. Quick pass to the far side is complete. That's Dominic Brown, the catch. He gets a good chunk, maybe 7 yards, but he's well short of what he needed. I think given the field position, it's a fairly obvious choice. Tantasqua will go for it on 4th down.
Solid pass out to the left side. Tantasqua's not afraid to throw the ball. Dante Reno, he's just a freshman. 94 passes through 9 games this season. Something to have in their back pocket.
4th and 5. Play fake, now handoff. Coming to the near side, he's got the first down, and he is run out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. That was Dominic Brown.
And I was going to say, for Tantasqua, they've got 3 players who they're very comfortable putting the ball in their hands to run it. Ryan Sears, Liam Gore, and Dominic Brown.
Tantasqua was faced with 3rd and 13, but they kept their wits about them. Got a good chunk on 3rd, and they were able to pick it up on 4th. So now for them, it's 1st and 10 from the Fitchburg 15-yard line. I formation behind behind Reno. Plenty of motion before the snap. That's been a recurring theme for Fitchburg all year, and it'll cost them 5 yards here. Call it now 1st and 5 for Tantasqua from the 10.
Yeah, and that was something that the Red Raiders got caught with a lot during that game against Tantasqua. So many times jumping over the line before the snap. You know, just getting used to the NFHS rule book.
It is something that is new as of this season, but I will point out, Dan, it is November. You should have this down by now. I formation for the Warriors on first down. Raider defense comes on a blitz. Sears does a good job getting out of it. He's close to the 5. They're going to give him the first down. It'll be first and goal, Tantasqua. 9.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter from Foley Stadium in Worcester. Fitchburg and Tantasqua just underway. If you're just joining us here on FATV, Fitchburg received the opening kickoff and then immediately fumbled it, giving the Warriors excellent field position, and now they're knocking on the door, first and 10 at the 5. I formation for the Warriors, send the man out, it's a fullback carry straight up the middle, lunging forward, he is in. Touchdown Tantasqua, Liam Gore with the score.
They're able to send Sears in motion on that one, just give it to the fullback and Liam Gore, and he just bursts through the Red Raider line for his 7th touchdown of the season, and the Warriors strike first.
Sent the tailback in motion, trying to make them think the ball's going that way. The fullback carry straight up the middle gets them 6, and the extra point makes it 7. So with 9:11 to play here in the first quarter, the Raiders are down on the scoreboard. And I tell you, Dan, if they don't win this game, they will never forget that opening kickoff.
Just demoralizing in a sense to fumble the ball on the opening kickoff. First touch of the game basically for the Red Raiders. And you get that advantage, and suddenly you've now given the opposition the ball to start both halves.
We're positioned here in the press box directly next to the Raider coaches, and they said it best, you're kicking off twice. Fitchburg will still have to kick off to start the third quarter, and Tantasqua got the first possession, got points on the board. We're less than 6 minutes into this one. They're already leading 7-0. So Jared Spratt will kick it away for Tantasqua. It's a low bouncing kick. Fumbled again by Barisano. He picks it up, and this time he just gets back to about the 33-yard line.
In that case, Barisano had to be thinking, just secure the ball this time. Just keep it in your hands. Make sure that whatever happens, Tantasqua is not getting the ball this time.
Montgomery Graham will lead the Raider offense out for the first time today. First and 10 for Fitchburg at about their own 32-yard line. Graham on the season, 28 out of 69 throwing the ball, just 2 touchdown passes. Fitchburg has gone with a ground-based offense, and they start here with that 3-man Maryland I formation. Anthony Okendo gets the carry on first down, plows forward, and only picks up about 3. Okendo over 1,200 rushing yards during the regular season, 9 touchdowns as well. So probably easily the most explosive part of the Raider offense. Neshoba did a really good job containing him. We'll see if Tantasqua can do the same. Now second down. Barisano the carry from the fullback spot, and he is wrapped up immediately. That's Kyle Boone, one of the captains for Tantasqua. He's a senior. Wraps him up for a loss of 1. It'll be third down and 8. And Dan, even on third and 8, you can see how little respect Tantasqua has for the passing game of Fitchburg. They have 10 men in the box. The furthest man back is the high safety, 10 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Okendo gets the pitch on third down, and he is wrapped up. Ran into an entire band of Warriors.
It didn't really help the Red Raiders that they had nobody split out wide on either side.
Nope, they went 3 men in the backfield, 2 tight ends, not even a split out wide receiver to try to loosen the defense a little bit. Fitchburg goes 3 and out. Justin Kamasana on to kick it away for the Raiders. He is punting with the wind, and he gets away a pretty good kick. Spirals, bounces at the 25. Tantasqua didn't even have a guy back there to stop it. Oh, the official is going to say that it was downed in the end zone. To the naked eye, it looked like the ball never got there. Maybe the gunner for Fitchburg was, maybe he had his foot in. It was Brian Rivera very nearly downing that ball inside the 5-yard line. But the ruling,
I think that's what it was. I think Rivera's feet were on and slightly across the goal line when he touched the ball.
so Rivera touched the ball in the end zone, rendering it a touchback. Break for the Warriors. They'll get it 1st and 10 at their own 20. Handoff straight up the middle on 1st down. This is Ryan Sears. Sears gets a few. Sears has been the primary ball carrier on the season for Tantasqua. 200 rushing attempts for him. Gets 3 yards there. You can hear the passionate Fitchburg crowd on the left-hand side. As you look at the screen here, Tantasqua is set up on the right. Only one bank of seats here at Foley. There's nothing but a baseball field and then houses on the far side. 2nd down handoff goes to Sears. He doesn't get much, maybe 3 or 4 yards. Shouldered down at the 26. And Tantasqua will face 3rd down and 4.
From what I've got in the early going, Sears has 5 carries for just 8 yards. As we're nearing the halfway point of this first quarter, Tantasqua holding a 7-0 lead.
6:12 to play, now 6:11, 6:10 as the Warriors come to the line. 3rd down and call it a long 3. They need to get right to the 30. Brown goes in motion, gets the carry on the jet sweep, tries to turn the corner. He's got the 1st down and a lot more. Dominic Brown is into Raider territory and finally dragged down at the 25-yard line. Latrell Bodie with the touchdown-saving tackle, but not before Dominic Brown breaks off a big one. 47 yards on that carry. And once again, Tantasqua is deep into Fitchburg territory.
Run that jet sweep to the right side. Got it as a 51-yard run there for Brown. Just getting to the flank and blitzing past everybody.
Now trouble at the snap. I think there might have been a false start. The ball came loose.
Fumbled snap is recovered by Dante Reno.
They're going to say Reno fell on the snap. And it's essentially an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd down and they're going to say Reno lost a yard. It'll be 2nd and 11.
1 yard loss on the play. 2nd down and 11.
Well, they lose the down on that one. Just a bit of scrambling on that one. And Tantasqua lost a fumble or so on a botched snap when they were deep into Red Raider territory in the game on September 20th as well. So some mistakes repeated, let's say, on both sides.
A lot of callbacks early on in this one. Reno called for a man to come in motion so aggressively, I thought they were going to get him for a false start there. But they do not. He takes the snap on 2nd down and 11 and hands to his tailback, Ryan Sears, who gets basically nothing. Dylan Arujo there to make the tackle.
Sears with a carry. Ahead for a couple.
Sears ultimately getting to the 22-yard line. Looks like not a whole lot, but ultimately, deception to the naked eye, it's 2-yard gain, but it does bring up a 3rd and 9 for the Warriors.
Fitchburg sending in some fresh legs on their defense. On Tantasqua's last possession, Dan, they had it in about this same spot, maybe a few yards further back, facing 3rd and 13. They were able to get 6 or 7 on 3rd down and then enough on 4th. So the Raider defense needs to stand tall here. 4:15 to play. Tantasqua with the 7-0 lead. Play action fake. Reno throws to his right. Pass is complete.
Reno's pass is complete.
Sears has the catch. He's brought down
Dominic Brown with
about
the
the 18-yard line.
Dominic Brown who came up with that one at the 15 there.
My apologies.
Yep. That's one of the things the Red Raiders have to watch out for is watching those flanks.
4th down and 4.
As it looks like Tantasqua is trying to get out there, whether it be through the air or on the ground, try to get to the flanks. And if there aren't that many Red Raiders out there here to help back them up, then could lead to trouble. That's what we saw on the Dominic Brown 51-yard scamper earlier.
Now 4th down and 4. Brown goes in motion and the Raiders jump. Hard count, Raiders jump 5 yards. You don't even need to run a play. They get the 1st down. The officials are conferring. Is it possible that Tantasqua brought them off? Yes. Okay.
False start penalty against
So a
Tantasqua.
false start against Tantasqua. will actually back the Warriors up 5 yards, make it a much harder 4th down. Thought for a second there, Dan, that Fitchburg had just handed Tantasqua the first down on a silver platter, but that was not the case.
Very fortunate for the Red Raiders. We saw the jump, but obviously just a bit of subtle motion there from the Warrior line.
So it'll be 4th down and 9 for the Warriors.
Need to get to the 13 for a first down. Dante Reno, son of Tony Reno, the head coach of Yale football.
And his head coach, John Hargis, gives him the play. Warriors bunched up all on the near side. Reno looks to his right, now throws over the middle. That pass is caught.
Reno's pass over the middle
It's a
is complete.
first down for the Warriors. Troy
Number 13,
Lee
Troy Lee with
with
the
the
reception.
catch. His first reception of the
13 yard
day.
pickup to the 9-yard line.
13 yards for number
That results in a
13.
Tantasqua first down.
And it'll give Tantasqua first down and goal. Warriors come to the line, first and goal from the Fitchburg 9, leading 7-0, 3.5 to play here in the first quarter. And the fullback is in once again, Liam Gore. Second time today he's gone in, this time a 9-yard run. Fitchburg had no idea that Liam Gore had the football. He went in pretty much untouched. Makes it a 2-score game.
Upcoming for Jared Spratt.
Jared Spratt on to attempt the extra point for the Warriors. Good snap, good hold, kick is up. It's plenty high enough, and it's
Spratt's kick is
through.
good.
So with 3:21 to play here in the first quarter of action, Tantasqua has come out of the blocks hot. Fitchburg has only had the ball for 3 plays. Tantasqua's had it twice, and they've scored 2 touchdowns.
That's one of the challenges for the Red Raiders in this game, trying to stop the challenging Tantasqua offense, averaging just under 26 points a game coming into today. They're coming off a 39-15 win over Groton Dunstable last week. And Tantasqua's only lost 2 games this year, both of them to Division III foes in Shrewsbury and Doherty. And even in those games, the Warriors were still able to get 3 scores in both of them.
Tantasqua, of course, did beat Fitchburg earlier. Due to overall record, Fitchburg was the #1 seed. But at a neutral site, that it doesn't really matter that much now, does it? Spratt kicks it away. It's another very short kick, just fallen on by the Raiders at the 35-yard line.
A strange kickoff there from Tantasqua.
Ball basically bounced right off the tee. I think it was deflected by one of the first up men for the Raiders. And then they just fell on it. Still pretty good field position for them, 1st and 10 at the 35.
Just a 25-yard kick for Spratt. He's not getting a lot of air on these kickoffs.
We talked at the top of the broadcast, Dan, about the Raiders' struggles offensively in the first half. Well, they're down 2 scores here in the first quarter. They need to get something going, and they'll try to do so from the shotgun. Montgomery Graham keeps it himself. Straight up the middle. Just a few yards there. Looked to me, Dan, like that was an option play where he had Okendo in the backfield, and it was kind of up to Graham to decide whether he wanted to hand it off to Okendo running the sweep to the left, or if he wanted to keep it himself going up the middle. Decided to keep it himself, got a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Through my binoculars, that's exactly what I saw. He made the decision to try to keep it himself, try to get more yardage by himself going up the middle, and the 3 yards is all he'll get.
Now 2nd down 7. Raiders still go from the shotgun. Graham keeps it himself, running to the left. Gets a couple of blocks. He's spun down at the 45. That's Ryan Sears with the tackle. A flag comes in very late. The Raiders are apoplectic. Meanwhile, Tom Flynn is holding his arms up saying, "It wasn't me. I didn't do nothing. I don't know what you're talking about."
It's a similar play as the last one, an option play which he ran it himself to the near side.
So we will get the call. It's a personal foul against Fitchburg. So they'll back the Raiders up 15 yards. was a dead ball foul, so the first down still stands.
For a personal foul.
But the penalty will be assessed from the end of the play. So essentially, Fitchburg loses 7 yards, but gets a fresh set of downs. Which, I mean, you'll take that once, but you can't do it all day, can you?
No. It's like, so now they'll have a first and, it should be a first and 10.
It should be 1st and 10 from the 30.
Yes, it should be.
Because it was a dead ball foul assessed from the spot. So it's not going to be 1st and 25 or anything like that. They're just going to back them up 15 yards and then start over 1st and 10.
Against the Red Raiders.
That should be what will happen there.
And that's what they have done. 1st and 10 for Fitchburg from their own 30-yard line after the carry by Graham and the personal foul. Now Graham wants to throw, looking to his right under pressure, and he will be sacked. Brought down from behind, Liam Kent was the man who finally dragged him to the ground. It's a loss of about 5, and it backs the Raiders up further.
It's just a matter of Graham looking for somewhere to throw, and nobody was able to get open to his satisfaction. Didn't have a chance to get the ball off there.
4-yard loss on the play.
Looked like he was looking to his right. The Raiders did have a couple of men split out wide. Couldn't get open. And now they're backed up even further. 2nd down and 14. They'll go from the pistol. Barisano, the fullback. Graham will keep it himself. Running to the left. And he is spun down and thrown out of bounds. And now flags come in. Ryan Sears was perhaps a little too aggressive with the tackle after Graham had stepped out of bounds. And I think this one will go against the Warriors.
Be very fortunate for the Red Raiders if they can get that to break back in their favor. That's indeed what's going to happen.
Personal foul after the play, almost assuredly for Mr. Sears, throwing down Montgomery Graham after he had stepped out of bounds. So Fitchburg gets back the 15 yards they lost earlier. And in fits and starts, Dan, the Raider offense is moving. They've got it 1st and 10 now at their own 49. 1:30 to play here in the first quarter. Again, this is the Division IV Central Championship game here on FATV from Foley Stadium in Worcester. Graham under center. Pitches it to Okendo. And Okendo spins out of a tackle. He's across the 40, still on his feet. Shakes a man and is finally dragged down at the 30 after a 21-yard run. The Raider sideline explodes.
Tackled at the 30-yard line.
Fitchburg crowd is on the left side here at Foley, and you heard every last one of them as Okendo broke free there.
Nearly disastrous for the Red Raiders from the snap as Montgomery Graham was falling down as he was able to pitch it to Okendo.
He very much was.
And Okendo able to break out of many tackles as he got to the near side flank. And he just would not be brought down until he got 21 yards on the ground there.
That's the Anthony Okendo the Raiders have been looking for the past few weeks. Now he gets it again on 1st down, tries to bounce it out to the right, but he gets nothing there. Owen Stanton with the tackle for Tantasqua.
I've noticed for Okendo, it can be difficult for him to get yardage if he's trying to go through the line. It seems like when he gets out to the sides that he's able.
That's when he's at his best, when he's got the ball in open space and he can do that spin move he likes, try to make guys miss.
When it comes to just trying to power through the line, it's just very difficult for him to get more than a few yards unless a big hole opens up.
Raiders wanted to get one more play off before the end of the first quarter, but they do not do so. Clock expires.
That's the end of the first quarter.
Will change ends, which for Tantasqua, they probably don't mind going to the other side with their fans on the right side here at my words are falling out. Commerce Bank Field at Foley Stadium is what I was trying to say.
The General's Den, as some call it.
Sure.
General Foley Stadium.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Certainly better than some bank. No offense to anyone who uses Commerce Bank. I'm sure they're a bank. They're probably fine.
All right. While we have a moment, let's thank our football underwriters.
Absolutely.
IC Credit Union, 300 Bemis Road in Fitchburg, North End Subaru, 757 Chase Road in Lunenburg, Romano's Market, 138 Harvard Street in Fitchburg, Grand Rental Station, 88 Mass Ave in Lunenburg, then Neshoba Valley Medical Center, 200 Groton Road in Ayer, Red Apple Farm, 455 Highland Ave in Phillipston, and Fitchburg State University at 160 Pearl Street in Fitchburg.
Red like a professional. It's because he is a professional, folks. Whereas I am just a talented amateur, and some would not even say talented.
So second quarter about to begin here between the Red Raiders of Fitchburg and the Warriors of Tantasqua. 14-0 Warriors as we start this second, and I'll be taking over play-by-play for the second. And let's see if we can get some Red Raider scores.
Well, it took you long enough to get a Falcon touchdown. Why don't we give you a Red Raider touchdown in your first game? Sounds only fair, right?
I only ended up getting to call one Falcon touchdown all season. But it will be 2nd and 10 for the Raiders. Graham looking back to pass, looking to his right. He's going to go for the end zone. He wants Rivera. That's incomplete. Tipped up and out of the way by Casey Robideau.
We've seen Fitchburg go with that pump and go route a couple of times this year. Robideau did not bite on it at all. He came over from his high safety spot, had that well defended. Was basically a jump ball at the near front pylon. Neither man came down with it, and now Fitchburg faces 3rd and 10.
Raiders held to just 38 yards of offense in this contest compared to 108 yards for Tantasqua. 3rd and 10, Raiders 0 for 1 on 3rd down. In the pistol, back to either side. They'll go with Graham on the option. Graham using Akendo as a blocker, gets the 20, inside the 15 as he hurdles over a man. Montgomery Graham gets a first down.
Graham has been keeping the ball more and more for the Raiders over the past few weeks. This time he runs it to the right side using, as you said, Dan, Anthony Okendo as a lead blocker. It's not just relying on Okendo to block, but actually steering him, pushing him around. At one point, he actually grabbed Okendo by the jersey and pointed him at a defender. Now we get a stoppage here. Looks like a timeout called by the Raiders.
Officials timeout taken on the field.
Perhaps just an official's timeout.
The chains aren't in position right now.
That is true. The chains are way the heck backed up. It's almost like they got stuck.
Maybe the case. In fact, I know the Leominster-Algonquin game, it's like actually part of it's actually broken. The top of the chain there, that I don't have
the circly bit.
The little circly bit, because I don't know what the proper
the bullseye
term is for it. That's come off. Now the bottom part's come off.
Okay.
Yep, I think. Yeah, the chains have gotten tangled with something. Yeah, the Leominster-Algonquin game last night, they had similar chain issues down in Northborough.
So
surely they did not bring the same chains.
Hopefully. I mean, one would assume.
Now it looks like they finally got it straightened away.
Well, they've got the pole. The problem is the orangey flag bit is just flopping all over the place.
Well, as long as they know what it is, where it is, as long as it's in the right spot. The 18-yard line is what they've given the Red Raiders. Looking for their first score of the game on 1st and 10. Akendo takes the pitch, goes out to the right side, gets about 5 yards as he's wrapped up there by Chandler Horn.
Okendo picked up about 6 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 4 as the adventures with sideline crew. Did that ever happen when you were on the chain gang, Dan, with the chains just disintegrating?
That's never happened to me. We actually had fairly functional chains at Fitchburg State. 2nd and 4 for the Red Raiders. Broken eye formation, one receiver split out to the left side. It's going to be play action. Graham looking to the left side, looking for the end zone. Donovan DeLeon, touchdown! Touchdown, Red Raiders!
So, Dan.
Yep. Can we edit that out in post?
That's a better joke than I was going to make.
Donovan DeLeon pulls it in. Nobody around him. And the Red Raiders are on the board with 10:47 to go in the second.
12-yard touchdown strike from Montgomery Graham.
So we've recently instituted, because I do the same thing. Extra point attempt by Kamasano is up and good, by the way. We've instituted a swear jar at Crocker Field. And I would say that's a quarter for the swear jar, but since you made me laugh so hard I'm crying, I think we'll let it go. Let's hear from Mr. Touchdown. .10:47 to play here. Fitchburg trailing Tantasqua 14-7. Donovan DeLeon with the touchdown catch. Just a fantastic play, Dan.
Looking to pass the whole way, and DeLeon wide open on the left side of the end zone. Taken in by Robideau at the 15-yard line, running up the middle, wrapped up by a bunch of Red Raiders at the 30.
Getting back to the touchdown play really quickly, Dan, I noticed on that drive, Fitchburg went away from the heavy set backfield. You know, we talked about how they didn't have any receivers split out wide. Well, that time they went with one on either side. They only had the two men in the backfield, and then they went play action to the right. The entire Warrior defense bit on it. Donovan DeLeon had, 5 yards around him in any direction when he caught that ball. He was wide open.
All he had to do was throw it to him, and he was going to catch it. First down, Ryan Sears now for Tantasqua. Trying to answer back quickly inside Red Raider territory before he's run out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
And a flag comes in after the play. Anthony Okendo is on the defense for the Raiders. He got right in Sears' face as he dragged him down out of bounds and then continued the conversation after the play. The Fitchburg sideline is not happy. I think this is going to wind up being against Okendo. There is, in fact, no flag. Okay. So Okendo made the tackle, kind of pushed Sears out of bounds, and then as they were going down, he kind of naturally dragged him down. I didn't think that was anything wrong with that. After the play, Okendo and Sears were nose to nose. They were jawing at each other, and a flag came in. And I thought they were getting it on Okendo because Okendo was the one who kind of initiated that exchange. Ultimately, they decided to, slap on the wrist, a point in your face, and say, hey, don't do that, but no foul.
Indeed. Now, if this was college, it's like if they thought maybe Sears might have said something just as bad, they probably would have called the offsetting fouls anyway, just because two unsportsmanlike conducts will result in an ejection. I don't know if the Federation has a similar rule. On first down, Sears goes to the right of the line, gets to the 21-yard line, a gain of 5.
10:20 to play here in the first half. Second quarter is underway here from Foley Stadium in Worcester. This would be huge just from a momentum standpoint, Dan. Tantasqua had a bit of trouble on defense containing the Raider offense. Fitchburg starting to feel themselves a little bit, starting to get back into this game. If they answer right back and they're right back up by 2 scores, that would be a huge confidence boost for the Warriors.
I would agree. Sears going to take it again. He's got a lot of room to run up the middle, down at the 10-yard line. Another first down for Tantasqua. They'll spot him at the 9.
The Warriors have had a lot of success making Fitchburg think that they're doing something fancy. They're splitting the back out wide and pitching it to him. They're running the jet sweep, when in actuality, they're handing it off and running it straight up the middle. We've seen that on the 2 touchdown runs by Gore, and we saw it on that last play. Tantasqua faked the jet sweep, handed it off just to the tailback straight up the middle. Sears had a huge hole.
This Tantasqua team loves to run. Sears up to 71 yards of offense. He'll take it again. Finds a hole on the right side, dives to the end zone. Touchdown, Warriors.
And on that one, in contrast, there was nothing fancy. That was just pure smash mouth. Our offensive line is bigger, stronger, and tougher than your defensive line. We're going to move, and our guy's going to walk into the end zone football. That's what Tantasqua wants to play, and they played it to perfection on that drive.
Extra point misses to the left. A rare miss from Jared Spratt, the senior kicker. And 28 extra points coming into that kick.
With 9:16 remaining in the half, the score will remain.
We will
Tantasqua
see if
20,
that-
That
Fitchburg
may
7.
well loom large. We'll see. But still, overall, Dan, Tantasqua, you know, if there were nervous folks on the right-hand side here at Foley Stadium, they may be a little less nervous. You know, take a breath, exhale, and you're all of a sudden you're back up by 2 scores.
4 runs by Ryan Sears was that entire drive. 4 plays for 70 yards, and it only took less than 90 seconds. That is a heck of a momentum swing for the Warriors.
All the work Fitchburg did on their last drive essentially undone in 4 carries in 90 seconds.
Red Raiders, Barisano will scoop it up at the 26, bring it to the 38-yard line.
Devin Barisano on the
Took a
return
while
for
for them
Fitchburg.
to get to the ball.
I was going to say, Dan, it looked for a moment like nobody really wanted to pick the ball up and run with it. Finally, Devin Barisano grabbed it.
It might be scary to grab that bouncing football there, but on a kickoff, you kind of have to pick it up.
Eventually, yeah.
Otherwise, the other team's going to be saying, oh, you don't want the football? We'll happily take
We'll
it.
take it. You know. If you don't want it, we'll have it. You know, it's not like we want it, but if you don't, we'll take it. That's fine. We can have it.
So 20-7 Tantasqua, 9:09 to go
9:09 remaining
in the first half. 2 backs in the backfield. Graham on the option again, goes to the left flank. He's got some room, got to midfield, and he's pulled out of bounds just inside the Warrior 45-yard line, actually out at the 41.
There is, however, a penalty marker back all the way at the line of scrimmage. It's at about the 36-yard line, and it is a hold against the Raiders. So this whole play is coming back.
It'll negate the first down rush from Graham.
So none of that will matter, but now what does matter, though, is where the spot's going to be, actually. Because it's 10 yards from the spot of the hold.
They back the Raiders up a little bit more than 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, so the hold must have come in the backfield. This will be 1st and 22, I believe, for Fitchburg.
Yes, it will be. So that's something that can very much happen. It's one of the weird things about the Federation rules, in my opinion. So on a new first down for the Red Raiders, it's a run up to the left flank again. Kendo takes the carry, gets past the 30-yard line, down at the 32, we'll give him.
And for all the success, Dan, that Fitchburg has had running the ball, especially with those option plays on their past two possessions, it's still very difficult when you back yourself up into a 1st and 22 situation. You know, they got 6 yards on that last play, which in a vacuum is great, but now it's 2nd down and 16. What's in your playbook for 2nd and 16?
Montgomery Graham has gone to the air just twice in this contest. The one time he was successful, he found points. Graham's going to run it himself to the right side, try to use Akendo as a blocker, spins out of a tackle, is down at the 40-yard line. They'll give him the 41, so a 9-yard run, and suddenly that 3rd down's a little more manageable.
Kyle Boone had his arms around Graham, but Graham was able to escape from him. So on 2nd and 16, you pick up 9. Now it's a manageable 3rd down and 7.
It'll be 3rd and 7 upcoming for the Red Raiders.
The Red Raiders coming out of that set with 1 running back to either side of Montgomery Graham, gives him some extra blockers, this time an I formation, 1 receiver to either side. This was the formation they scored their touchdown on, but they were a little closer to the end zone that time. It's going to be a pitch out to Akendo, spins out of a tackle, gets to the near side, gets to midfield, still going, now at the 40, now run out of bounds inside the Warrior 35-yard line.
Anthony Okendo tiptoeing along the near sideline, finally pushed out of bounds, probably by the last man who had a chance to stop him. The Fitchburg offense is moving. We really haven't seen too much of this from them all season, maybe in the Westboro game, maybe all the way back in October against North Middlesex.
I think the Westboro game is going to have the most parallels if the Red Raiders can come back and win. After all, they had struggled so much early on in that contest and were finally able to turn the tides as the game went on. Oquendo takes the run this time, and he will be inside the 35-yard line. They'd spotted him at the 37. They'll give him the 35 this time, just a gain of 2 yards.
One thing I'm noticing, Dan, is that as the Raiders have been moving, they've been doing it really with 2 guys, Graham and Oquendo. We haven't seen as much of Devin Barasano taking the carry. We haven't seen at all in their last 2 possessions that 3-man Maryland I formation that they had been using. It's been a lot of pistol. It's been, I formation sometimes, a lot of shotgun as well. The Raiders are mixing it up, and they're having success.
I will say that that touchdown pass had to force Tantasqua to at least respect the pass, as Oquendo is going to take it inside the 30-yard line, spot him at the 29. It'll bring up a 3rd and 2.
To your point, Dan, in addition to just throwing the ball and having success, Fitchburg is lining up with wide receivers. You don't have to throw it to them all the time, but if you just spread them out a little bit, force Tantasqua to not pack 8, 9, 10 guys in the box, that creates running lanes, that creates opportunities for your offensive line to open up holes through which Graham and Oquendo can run.
Red Raiders just need to get to the 27, 2 yards to gain on 3rd and 2 from the 29. As we approach 5.5 to go in this first half. Graham to the right side. If he can get out of that tackle, he'll have it. He can't get out of that tackle. Chandler Horn reads it well. It's a loss of a couple, now brings up a challenging 4th down. But now there's a flag.
Flag comes in well after the fact. There is a Tantasqua player down as well on the far side.
Flags fly in after the play.
2 are pretty much unrelated. Unsportsmanlike conduct is indicated against Fitchburg. So what had been a challenging 4th down will now most likely be an impossible 4th down, and they will have to kick it away. However, more importantly, there is the injured Warrior on the far side of the field. My dear friend with the binoculars, would you be able to tell me who that is?
That is the captain, Noah Galonic. Number 67 that's down there.
Galonic is a senior. As you mentioned, he's one of the captains for Tantasqua, plays on the line, both sides of the ball. While we have a second, Dan, talking about that last play, Tantasqua lined up, I think they had 6 guys lined up on the line of scrimmage, and then they had 3 linebackers and their 2 cornerbacks split out covering the receivers. They went with no safeties. It was basically a gamble for them. We're either going to blow this play up at the line or concede a touchdown. And for the Warriors, they blew it up at the line, which is what they wanted.
You could see as it was developing for Graham, if he could get to that flank, if he could get past Chandler Horn, he was going to have a 1st down for sure. He just wasn't able to get there. Camsano will have the punt with the wind coming against him. It's going to make this a bit challenging for field position, and they'll have to down it at the 21-yard line.
It's the second time Fitchburg has punted, and the second time Tantasqua has not even bothered sending a man back. They're all about coming and crashing and trying to block the kick. The first time they were rewarded with a touchback. This time Kamasana tried to kind of pooch it in there, make sure he didn't kick it through the end zone. It winds up not even getting to the 20-yard line. It's only a net gain of maybe 20 yards.
It was a 33-yard punt with no return. So
okay, so 30 yards.
Something like that.
I'm wrong. Fine.
1st down for Tantasqua. It's a run up the middle. Taken to the 28-yard line.
Ryan Sears with the carry.
Ryan Sears again.
And now, Dan, after getting that last stop on their last drive, Tantasqua is in the driver's seat of this game. They lead by 2 scores. They've got about 4 minutes and 45 seconds to work with here. They also have all 3 of their timeouts. And on top of that, they're going to get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. The Warriors are in an incredible position right now.
Be the toughest test of the season for the Red Raider defense on 2nd down. Sears not able to find a hole and ultimately taken down at the line of scrimmage.
And this is a Red Raider defense that isn't used to having conceded this many points already. Already, Tantasqua has exceeded the point totals of all but 2 Fitchburg opponents. You have to go back to the Westboro game on November the 1st to find the last time a team put 20 on Fitchburg, and before that, it was the opening game, September 13th, against West Springfield.
West Springfield themselves a Western Mass finalist. It's Sears up the middle again. Not a whole lot of yardage there, but he only needed to get to the 33. He gets to the 34. Again, my eyes deceive me on how much he gains. It's a 5-yard gain, and it's good enough for a first down.
It didn't look like much. It just looked like he kind of plowed into the line and then was brought down, but there was really good blocking by the Tantasqua line, a good extension by Sears after the initial hit. It's enough to move the chains. Now 3:33 left here in the second quarter. Tantasqua has a fresh set of downs.
Sears 13 carries, 93 yards and a touchdown. Sears will take it to the right side. Can't dive out of the tackle there. Miguel Torres able to take him down there and hold him to just 5 yards. Down at 39. And right now they've just been feed the ball to Sears. That's been the entire offensive strategy for Tantasqua. But why change what's not working?
What is working?
What is working? That's 8 consecutive runs, I believe, by the Warriors. All to Ryan Sears, the senior captain.
They're moving the ball, and more importantly for them, they're moving the clock. They don't want to give Fitchburg the ball back until they've had it at the start of the third quarter.
And it's going to be Sears again. This time the Raider D reads it well. 3 different Raiders bursting through to halt Sears' progress to just a yard.
I'm a little surprised, Dan. There's a flag that was thrown at the end of the play. Was caught in midair by a Fitchburg player. And it's another unsportsmanlike conduct against Fitchburg.
Already over 60 penalties today with that.
Please say you mean penalty yards.
Penalty yards.
Thank you. 60 penalties feels like a lot.
So that's going to march the sticks into Tantasqua territory.
Fitchburg territory.
Fitchburg territory.
I'm sorry, I'll stop correcting you now.
No, you deserve to correct me. 2:25 to go, first half, 20-7 Tantasqua. Ball will be placed at the Red Raider 45-yard line. I think I heard someone muttering a sideline warning against the Red Raiders.
Sideline warning levied against Fitchburg.
And that's what they will call. And now they'll go to Dominic Brown, tries to take it on the end around there. Gets 2 yards, and what is this now?
More flags, that's what it is. This one is against Tantasqua. Officials are very fond of their little yellow pieces of cloth.
So earlier in the game, we saw Fitchburg get called for a personal foul, and then a few plays later, Tantasqua got called for one, practically undoing it, and now we've
seen the reverse.
We've seen the reverse now. But a personal foul goes against the Warriors. They also call timeout.
Tom DiGeronimo was so interested in having a conversation with the official, he came out to midfield, like between the hash marks, to have a chat. So Tantasqua has taken their first timeout. They have 2 remaining. 2:04 left to play here in the second quarter. It will be second down and 23, I think?
23 is what I got in my book. They've got it now on the Tantasqua 42-yard line. The ball back into Warrior territory due to the indiscipline.
It would be interesting to see if the Raiders start calling their timeouts, if they should stop Tantasqua here.
Brown on a delayed handoff. Tries to get to the right side, ends up running towards Gabriel Rivera. Rivera breaks off the player he's engaging with and just tackles him there at the 45, a gain of 3.
3rd and 20 upcoming for the Warriors.
Fitchburg has all 3 of their timeouts. They are electing to let the clock run. It'll go below a minute 30 before Tantasqua even breaks the huddle. So Fitchburg is content to go to the lockers down by 13 at 20-7, knowing that Tantasqua will receive the opening kick of the 3rd quarter. The Warriors are, I think they're also fairly content with this state of affairs as well. They're not exactly hurrying themselves up.
3 receivers split out to the near side, and Gore fumbles the football.
That
Fumble on
should
the
be an
play.
incomplete pass.
Indeed,
Recovered by
it will
Liam
be,
Gore.
as the
Back at the
ball
40-yard line.
did ultimately go forward on the
5-yard loss on the play.
unconventional
Timeout
pitch,
taken
if
on the
you
field
will.
by Fitchburg.
I think.
I have no. So the officials are indicating a Fitchburg timeout. That should be an incomplete pass because he shoveled the ball forward to the running back, who then never had possession of it and dropped it.
And ultimately,
Ultimately, it's not going to matter because Fitchburg's going to get the ball back and run out the clock. But I think Fitchburg has been wronged.
or perhaps they've called the timeout just to get everyone on the same page on what exactly they should be doing on this
Well, they
subsequent
called
play.
the timeout to stop the clock because the clock was running because it was ruled a fumble. But the clock should not have been running because it should have been ruled an incomplete pass, is my point.
It was just
That
one of
last
those
play was ruled incomplete, not a fumble.
strange
Tantasqua will have a 4th and
occurrences
20 after the timeout. 1 minute
where
remaining
you
in
see
the
a
first
player bobble it like that on what looked like a pitch, basically, but ultimately it was a pitch forwards.
And apparently, based on what we just heard from the PA announcer, the ruling has been changed to an incomplete pass. So perhaps, as you said, Dan, Fitchburg did take the timeout just to go over strategy. It's not like the coaches are 4 feet away from us. We could ask, but they're busy, so we won't ask.
Also, they've had some adventures on these punt returns here.
It's putting it kindly.
That ball takes a strange bounce at the 30-yard line, and Tantasqua will down it there. But again,
Spratt's punt is
You
touchdown
could
at the
hear,
30-yard
Dan,
line.
the Fitchburg sideline shouting, "Get away, get away."
Fitchburg will take over possession of the football, 1st and 10 from their own
We have
30.
one microphone
52
down
seconds
on the
remaining in the
sideline, but
second
it
quarter.
is very well positioned to hear the Fitchburg sideline barking instructions. And to your point, Dan, that has been a problem for Fitchburg all season on punt returns, not getting away from the ball when it's clear that you're not going to be able to get a return out of it.
indeed, once the ball looks like it's going to be unreturnable for anything useful, it's poison. Get away from the poison. Why are you approaching the poison? Red Raiders split 3 receivers out to the right side, 1 in the backfield here on 1st down, and that's Barisano. Graham's looking to throw, and that one is going to be bobbled incomplete. De Leon just could not get a handle on that one.
Intended for number
Looked
9,
for a
Donovan
second
De
like
Leon.
Ryan Sears was going to pick that one off. It went through Sears' hands, and De Leon couldn't bring it in either. Fitchburg trying to make something happen with the last few seconds of the first half. We're down to 44 seconds remaining here. Fitchburg was charged with that timeout, so they only have 2 left in their pocket.
44 seconds to get 70 yards.
During warm-ups, we saw Justin Kamasana hit from 40, but realistically they would need to get to within at least 35 to consider kicking.
It'll be 2nd down, Barisano in the backfield, same formation. Graham blows a tire,
Graham goes
ducking
down in the
out of the
backfield.
tackle there. Colby Constantine was the one who ends up
Colby Constantine
forcing
first to get there for
Graham to the
Tantasqua.
ground, and Tantasqua will call
Timeout
their
taken on the
2nd
field by the
timeout.
Warriors with 35 seconds left in the half.
So after spending the 2 minutes of play between 3:30 and 1:30 of this quarter, with both sides looking
It'll be
more
3rd
than
down and
happy to
15
go into the
upcoming for
lockers
Pittsburgh
with the state of
after the
affairs
timeout.
as it was, now with under a minute to play, teams are calling timeout left and right.
Suddenly the circumstances of how things appear change with how plays develop, or something of that nature.
Dan, I have to ask you a question. Should I really be questioning strategy given that the coaches are literally standing 5 feet away from us? And it's not like Elliott Field where there's a wall between us and them. Yeah, I probably shouldn't, should I?
Possibly not.
Oh well.
So a loss of 6 yards on that second down play brings up a third and a long 16. The Raiders have to get to their own 40-yard line to get a fresh set of downs. And if they don't get there
3rd and 16 for
on
the
a
Red
completed
Raiders.
pass or a run, you kind of have to expect Tantasqua might burn their 3rd time out. Graham is looking to pass, looking to his left. Now he's going to have to run with it. See how many yards he can get out of this one. Shakes off a tackle at the 30-yard line. He's forced out of bounds at the 34-yard line, but that is going to stop the clock with 27 seconds left in the first half.
So for Tantasqua, they get the force out of bounds, and they stop Graham well short of the first down marker. If the Warriors want to take a shot at the end zone with the last few ticks of the half, they will now have the opportunity to do so. Kamasana will have to kick it away. And even now, Tantasqua is not sending back a punt returner. They are selling out to block this punt.
It's interesting how Tantasqua not sending anybody back. Kamasana gets this one go high in the air, doesn't go terribly far. It's going to take a bounce, and they're going to let it sit down there and let the officials blow the whistle with 16 seconds left.
We've mentioned a few times already that we are positioned in the coaches box here at Foley Stadium with the Fitchburg coaches just a few feet away from us. On that play, we could hear them telling their coaches on the sideline to tell the kids just to let the ball roll. They saw as well as we did that Tantasqua did not have a man back to return the kick. There was no chance that they were going to get anything out of it. So Fitchburg was able to grind a few extra seconds off the clock just by letting it sit there, waiting for the officials to pick it up. It's good clock management. And now Tantasqua takes a knee, rendering the last 5 minutes of our lives pointless. Okay.
Tantasqua will take a knee on 1st and 10.
Ultimately, if they had gotten a block, or maybe the Red Raiders had faked it and didn't get the first down, perhaps they would have tried to make something of it. But 64 yards, 66 yards to travel at that point or something of that nature just wasn't worth a shot. And so we'll go into halftime with the score of Fitchburg 7 and Tantasqua 20.
Before we go in for our halftime break, we want to thank one more time our football underwriters who bring this and every game to you here on FATV. And they include Fitchburg State University, headquartered at 160 Pearl Street in Fitchburg, the Neshoba Valley Medical Center on 200 Groton Road in Ayer. There's also Red Apple Farm, 455 Highland Ave in Phillipston, IC Credit Union, 300 Bemis Road in Fitchburg, North End Subaru at 757 Chase Road in Lunenburg, the Grand Rental Station, 88 Massachusetts Avenue in Lunenburg, and of course Romano's Market, 138 Harvard Street here in Fitchburg. 20-7 Tantasqua at the halftime break. We will take the break along with the players, but via the magic of editing, we will see you in 5 seconds. Goodbye. And just like that, we're back here at Foley Stadium in Worcester. While we were away, nothing of consequences has happened. They played Welcome to the Jungle. It was halftime. You know how halftime works. We just skipped it because it's the magic of editing, because for you folks at home, it is Sunday. For us, it is the dim and distant past of Saturday, where the Raiders are now trailing Tantasqua 20-7 at halftime here at Commerce Bank Field at Foley Stadium. I'm John Gugerty, joined today not by Dave Clark and Mike Flynn. They could not make the trip, but instead by Dan Bolak. Dan, so happy to have you here with us. I'm not editing that one out. I just botched the line.
Yep. We all get our mistakes, and I made one in the first half. Although maybe with the magic of editing, maybe I didn't. I don't know.
You did. You definitely. It was right after the touchdown. We can't cut that.
No, we can't. But
No.
Anyway, it is 20-7 Tantasqua at halftime. Here's some first half stats. Tantasqua 23 carries for 175 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground, 3 catches for 26 yards for a total of 201 yards of offense. Meanwhile,
200 yards of offense with just 3 completions for Tantasqua. It's basically all been Ryan Sears and Dominic Brown. They did have 2 touchdowns scored as well by Liam Gore, but those were Gore's only 2 carries.
Both carries from inside the 10-yard line to the end zone for Tantasqua. Those were the first 2 scores of the game. Red Raiders got one back. Montgomery Graham to Donovan DeLeon, a 12-yard catch. That's the only completion for Graham, 1 for 3 for 12 yards. Also 9 carries for 37 yards on the ground. Anthony Kendo, 9 for 67. Ultimately, the Red Raiders in the first half, 19 carries for 103 yards and 1 catch for 12 yards.
And Dan, if Fitchburg is going to get back into this game, I really think they need to lean very heavily on the option looks that they saw right at the end of the second quarter there. Montgomery Graham taking the snap and then making the choice based on the defensive positioning, based on what he sees in front of him. Do I give to Okendo or do I keep it myself? I think that needs to be the core of the Raider offense because it's been, quite frankly, the only thing that's been really successful.
It's been one of the more effective aspects of the game for the Red Raiders in this contest, those option carries. And Graham's done pretty well running with the ball on the ground. But obviously they don't want to be so complacent to the run that Tantasqua starts committing to it.
That's true, and we saw that early in the game. Tantasqua stacking 10, even 11 guys in the box. Fitchburg responded to that by spreading out the offense a little bit, lining up with a couple of wide receivers, which they hadn't been doing, and they've resulted from that in having some good success on the ground. Unfortunately, you're down by 2 scores, and it's difficult to move the ball on the ground, especially quickly, if you're down by 2 scores.
If there is a positive for the Red Raiders, though, they know what it's like to come from behind.
Yep.
In fact, I believe if I've done my math right, a 13-point deficit would be the 3rd biggest halftime comeback this season for the Red Raiders. They were down 14 against Westboro and 15 against Neshoba. Honestly, a comeback here would just complete the pattern.
It kind of would. You know, last week against Neshoba, they had the 7-0 victory. But to your point, the 2 games before that, the win against Neshoba, the win against Westboro, both came as a result, rather, of comebacks by the Raiders. If they get one more, if they have one more in them, they will be Division IV Central champions. Because after all, that's why we're here. That's why we're in Worcester. That's why FATV sent their mini truck to Worcester. It's because this is the 2019 MIAA Division IV Central Championship game, and the winner of this game will play Plymouth South next week for a chance to go to Gillette.
And
it's a big game is what I'm saying.
Yep. A state semifinal, and the winner of that game will get Melrose at Gillette on the first weekend of December.
And of course, you know, you never want to say, well, if they lose, there's still Thanksgiving. But, well, if they lose, there's still Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is happening whether they win or not, whether they're going to Gillette or not. We will be at Crocker Field, 10 o'clock kickoff, Thursday, November the 28th, for Fitchburg versus Leominster for the 100 and, I don't know the number off the top of my head. It's like the 140th. It's something close to that.
Yep.
They've been doing it for a while, is what I'm saying.
Yep. The challenge with the numbering is the fact that they've met on not Thanksgiving.
That's true.
Many times as well, including in 2014, the last time the Red Raiders won the Central Mass Championship.
Hey, look at that. You took my tangent and you brought it right back into the reason we're here. You're a good broadcaster. Has anyone ever told you that?
Indeed, some people have told me that.
You have an award for that, don't you?
I do have an award for that. I've got
Then
2
again,
awards for that.
I have an award for that, so they're giving them out like candy.
Kamasana kicks it off, and we are underway here in this 3rd quarter. Dominic Brown taking it for the Warriors, brings it up to the 35-yard line.
Tantasqua had the ball at the end of the second quarter, and of course they made the opening kickoff, which was fumbled by the Raiders, so Tantasqua functionally got the benefits of both. They got the first possession of the game, and now they get the first possession of the 3rd quarter. They weren't able to score with the 4.5 minutes they had the ball at the end of the second quarter, but if they can go up by 3 scores here, they would really put Fitchburg in a hole.
And make it an incredibly challenging environment to come back in. And on first down, Ryan Sears trying to go to the right side of the line. Maz Newton spins him down to the ground. They'll spot him at the 38-yard line, a gain of 3.
It's a really good effort by Sears, Dan. He was wrapped up by Newton after maybe half a yard, maybe a full yard of running, but he kept moving. He was actually able to spin forward and then fall forward. He turned what should have been a gain of maybe 1 into a gain of 3, makes it that much more manageable. Now 2nd down and 7.
Early here in this third quarter, 2 receivers out to the right, but it's going to be another run to Sears going to the left. And Sears able to drive to the 43-yard line. A gain of 5 yards brings up a manageable 3rd down for Tantasqua.
Something we've seen from Fitchburg a lot is they want to, actually Tantasqua's going no huddle here.
Going quickly here on 3rd down, Dante Reno under center, looking to his coach, John Hargis. One of the Warrior coaches actually on the field to give those orders, and they'll give it to Sears. He finds room for a 1st down, down at the midfield stripe.
It looked initially like Tantasqua wanted to just come out, bark a few hard signals, and try to draw Fitchburg offside, which, to be honest, has been a very effective strategy against the Raiders this season. But then when that didn't work, they decided to just run a play. So they did, and they gained a few yards and got a 1st down out of it.
And again, they've gone back to the same strategy they'd been going to, just give the ball to Ryan Sears. And look at that, they gave the ball to Ryan Sears, and it didn't work this time.
No, it did not. Jesus Padilla came in, hit him low, he got out of that, and he ran right into Baz Newton, who hit him high. He went backwards.
It's going to be a 4-yard loss for the senior captain. 19 carries, 110 yards now for Sears. And the 3rd touchdown for the Warriors. Take under 10 minutes to go.
If you're the owner of a white Toyota Highlander or a dark gray Honda CRV, you're blocking the exit zone, you must move your car.
Don't mind the silence there, folks. They're just announcing that they're towing cars, and we were afraid it was ours. It's not. We're fine.
Sears goes up the middle, gets back to the line of scrimmage. Well, just a bit short of that. 3 yards they'll give him.
Again, if you're the owner of a white Toyota Highlander,
I can assure you that neither of those are my car.
That's true. FATV came today in a Honda Pilot. I drive something that's red. You drive a Subaru of some kind.
Yep, that's black.
We're fine. But those people, those jerks, they're blocking the exits.
These cars are blocking the exit zone. You must move your cars.
Now, as I was trying to say earlier, Dan, one thing we've seen from Fitchburg this season is they want to wear down opposing defenses to open up the running game late in the game. Tantasqua might be doing that here.
Incomplete pass on the left flank. Dominic Brown couldn't haul it in. Good pressure there from the Red Raiders. Is that Colin Dudek jumping in there?
I think it was Dudek applying pressure. I saw Latrell Bodie dive forward trying to jump the route. For a second, it looked like Bodie was going to take that and go all the way, but he couldn't get it done. He couldn't make the catch. It would have been a heck of an effort from him to do that. The Fitchburg defense, Dan, was in a very bad spot a few minutes ago of game time. They were down 2 scores, knowing that Tantasqua was going to get 2 possessions in a row, and Fitchburg has allowed 0 points from those 2 possessions.
They'll be taken in at the 14-yard line by Rivera, cutting left and right. Had his hand down, but still alive. Gets to the 20-yard line. Very adventurous, but still a return.
Punt returns have been an adventure, to say the least, for Fitchburg all season long, whether it's winning a game on a punt return touchdown or having multiple occasions where the ball is free and they just hand it over to the other team. This time, tried to make something happen, looked for a second like Rivera was going to break free, unable to do so, and it'll be Fitchburg ball 1st and 10 at their own 20 with 8:40 to play here in the 3rd quarter.
They've also done some modifications to the sticks on the far side. Let's just say one of them is a lot different than the other. As Akendo takes it on the pitch to the left side. It's to the left of the hashes, down at the 25-yard line, a gain of 5 on 1st down.
We saw that happen, I think it was around early in the 2nd quarter. The far side flag stick just kind of came loose of the stick. They've removed that flag. I think they wrapped the stick in orange tape or something. Try to make it a little visible.
It's very interesting, to say the least.
You make do with what you have.
Sometimes
basically.
you just have to improvise. But as long as it gets the job done.
Sure.
2nd and 5 for the Red Raiders. From their own 25-yard line, Graham going to take it himself. He's not going to be able to get out of the grasp
Tackled in the backfield by number 9,
of Chandler Horn. And suddenly the Raiders lose the 5 they gained.
5-yard loss on the play.
Graham was trying to run to the right side behind Anthony Okendo. Chandler Horn came up and he just basically sidestepped Okendo. Okendo didn't really deliver much of a block at all, and Horn was then uncontested as he got to Graham, driven back, as you said, Dan, losing the 5 yards they had gained on first down. So now it'll be 3rd and 10 for Fitchburg.
Red Raiders in the first half were 2 for 5 on 3rd down.
Worth noting that the wind has picked up pretty substantially here, and right now it's blowing pretty much in Fitchburg's face, so any throws would be made against the wind as well.
With the play clock running down, Graham rolling to the left side. He's going to get a pass off, and it's going to be incomplete. Could not be hauled in by De Leon, and even if he had made the catch, he wasn't going to get very much on it.
Nathan Winco was all over him. Pass sailed just a little bit. Hand of Montgomery Graham, but as you said, Dan, even if De Leon had gone up and brought that ball down, he was going to be wrapped up immediately. Winco was there, as well as a couple of other Warriors. So now Fitchburg will have to kick it away. Their defense gets the stand, and the offense goes 3 and out.
Kamasana puts it high in the air again. Nobody back there for the Warriors. They'll just let it go, and the ball is going to stop at midfield.
Winds up being about a 30-yard punt for Kamasana. 10 of those yards came as a result of the bounce. Was a very high, short, awkward punt. Kamasana took over as the full-time punter at mid-season for Fitchburg after Jovan Falcon had been doing that. Kamasana is the place kicker as well.
So the ball ends up going back to basically where Tantasqua had it when they punted.
And a field position game suits the Warriors' interests a lot more than it does the Raiders at this stage of affairs.
6:45 to go here in the 3rd quarter on first down. A run to the left side. Liam Gore gets his first carry in a while, and for the first time today, he's running, and it's not been a Warrior touchdown.
Well, it's also the first time they gave it to him where it wasn't 1st and goal. You know, if a fullback dive gets 50 yards, that's newsworthy.
Ultimately, Gore gets a very effective 6 on that one, down at the Red Raider 44-yard line.
Booyaka 6-1-9 left here in the 3rd quarter as Tantasqua comes to the sideline.
This one, a dive up the middle.
Down to the 40-yard line.
Liam Gore again getting the call. Gets 3 yards this time.
Looks like he's just shy of the line to gain. Maybe the length of the football separating Tantasqua from a fresh set of downs.
The 39.5-yard line, just short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and short 1 for Tantasqua.
So they need to get to exactly the 40-yard line. Sticks are right on the lines as we tick on. Well, the clock is stopped at 6 minutes. Why
That's
is it
interesting.
stopped?
I don't know.
Now it restarts. And looks like two in the backfield, 2 receivers to the right. With Reno under center, a quick handoff there. And Liam Gore just bursting through, keeping his feet moving. Looked like they would have had him stop for 3. Suddenly a second effort, and it's an 11-yard gain instead. Maybe even more than that, actually.
Mentioned on Tantasqua's last possession that they may be wanting to kind of wear down the Fitchburg defense. And right there, that would do it. Just handing it off to the fullback, Liam Gore, 3 times in a row. He's maybe as big, almost as big, as the offensive lineman for Tantasqua. He's certainly a heck of a guy to bring down.
And Gore again found a hole, and down at the 15-yard line, they'll give him the 17. That's 11 yards. It's another first down for the Warriors.
You had mentioned, Dan, how there really wasn't anything fancy about the offensive plan of handing it to Ryan Sears. There is even less fancy about Liam Gore. He is a big, strong, fast, blunt object who wants to run you over and then run away from you. And he's been doing that on this drive.
And Now they've put Sears in the backfield. He'd been split out as a receiver. Sears this time, not so much on first down, but a gain of about a yard and a half.
Sounds about right. Jesus Padilla once again came from the outside, brought him down by the legs. Samson Faulkner will check out. Raiders will get a fresh set of legs in for their defensive line.
I hate when, with my logbook, you can't put 1.5 yards into the book. It doesn't like that.
No.
So I have to decide, is he getting 1 yard for that or 2 yards for that?
I give him 2 yards for that.
All right, I can give him 2 yards for that, but anyway. So 15.5 yards from goal, 4:20 to go in the third quarter, 20-7 Tantasqua. Gore back into the game, but this time a different person getting the handoff there.
That was Sears again.
Ryan Sears with a gain of 2.
Trying to get a little misdirection there.
14-yard line.
Couldn't immediately tell who it was. All I could tell you is he didn't get very far.
Sears got just a couple. Fitchburg defense has had to make 2 stops already on the last 2 Tantasqua possessions. They're a couple of downs away from getting it done here. Eventually, Tantasqua's already scored 3 times. They're going to get in again.
Got a man in motion, and now Reno looking to throw. He's going to throw right side, tipped it incomplete. He's looking there for Sean Lauritsen.
Miguel Torres was on the coverage, stayed with his man nicely, got his hands on that ball. Thought for a second he was going to pick it off. He couldn't bring it in, but he did get the deflection. Without that deflection, it would have been a back-breaking touchdown. Now Tantasqua has a choice to make. It would be about a 31-yard field goal. They would be kicking with the wind, but they're going to go for it instead. 4th and 6.
Warriors are 2 for 2 on 4th down today. As Reno, a shovel pass. He finds Lee. Lee trying to stay on his feet. He's not going to get the first down. It's only a 1-yard gain. And the Red Raiders get a big stop.
That is a heck of a play call by Tantasqua. They take the shotgun snap to Reno. He rolls to his left with basically the entire offensive line going with him, but the play is a shovel pass to Lee, reversing direction, going the other way. It looked for a second like he was going to break out of it and walk into the end zone untouched, but Fitchburg's defense for the 3rd time in a row is put into a no-win scenario and finds a way to win. Tantasqua has had the ball 3 times with a 2-score lead and have been unable to punch it in. For Fitchburg, the offense has to get points on the board here. You have to reward your defense for their efforts.
87 yards from goal on first down. Option play. Graham will keep it himself. Try to bounce out of 1 tackle, but ultimately 2 Warriors pulling him down, and a flag comes in at the very end.
Flag was thrown from the far side. I think it came from the referee himself. It's a face mask against the Warriors, so that'll give Fitchburg 15 free yards. They had been kind of backed up inside their own 15, but now they'll be outside the 30 with some breathing room and a first down.
There's 2 tacklers there trying to pull him down, Owen Stanton and Sean Lauritsen, and one of them grabbing the face mask of Montgomery Graham. A free 15 for the Red Raiders. It's the 4th penalty that Tantasqua has committed today.
Raiders have it 1st and 10 at their own 33. 3 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter of action. There's lots of 3s on the board.
So 1st and 10 now for the Raiders. Graham looking to his left. He wants to pass. Shakes out of the tackle. Now he's going to throw over the middle. This one's going to be caught by Brian Rivera. He's down at midfield.
Pass is complete to Brian Rivera at midfield.
Graham wanted the pump and go to the far side. The receiver didn't go. He just kind of stood there in double coverage, didn't do anything. Graham ultimately rolled out to his left, tried to make something happen, threw back across his body to a wide open Brian Rivera, standing right between the hash marks with nobody around him. Gets the first down, gets to midfield. Fitchburg's offense is moving.
2:15 to go in the third quarter. 20-7 Tantasqua on first down. Graham gonna throw deep ball for Rivera. Too far. Would have been 6 if he'd caught it.
Rivera once again, this time incomplete.
This time Fitchburg makes it look like they're running that option play again, but Graham stops short of the line of scrimmage, pulls up and tries to hit Rivera on the deep ball. You said it, Dan, he would have had 6 points if he had brought that in, but the pass was just a little bit overthrown, too far for Rivera. Falls harmless to the ground, incomplete, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
Now clock stopped with 2:07 to go in this third quarter. Ball at midfield on the 2nd and 10. 2 receivers to the far side for the Red Raiders. Into the backfield to either side. It's going to be Graham keeping himself. Pulls it up the middle. Dances past the 40-yard line and down at the 38. Another first down.
The option worked to perfection that time. They had Barasano and Okendo in the backfield. They fake the handoff to Barasano, the fullback running from the right side. Graham keeps it, goes straight up the middle. There's a huge hole. A great call and perfect execution by Montgomery Graham.
This Red Raider team, they get better as the game goes on. It's been a strange but true fact for them. Barasano takes the run on first down, goes up the middle, runs into a bunch of Warriors. Tackle there by Tom Flynn to stop Barasano for just 2 yards.
I actually want to correct myself, Dan. It was Barasano and Brian Rivera in the backfield for Fitchburg on that last play. Anthony Okendo is seated on the near sideline with his helmet off. Don't know if there's an injury situation with him. He's not being tended to at present, but he is very much not a part of this football game right now, and it looks like he may not be for the rest of the day.
A very interesting turn of events. Will make things a bit more challenging for the Red Raiders. A very, very delayed option there. Graham fumbled the ball a little bit in his hands, kept hold of it, and eventually runs out of bounds at the Tantasqua 21-yard line. Another first down.
Montgomery Graham on that play did a couple of things that I don't think you would ever coach anyone to do, but since they worked, you kind of have to shrug your shoulders and go, okay, it worked. Because, as you said, Dan, he took forever to take the ball away from Barasano on the option play, and then, as he was taking it to the outside, rather than cut upfield where it looked like there was a hole, he went around Brian Rivera, who pulled a fantastic block on the cornerback, and he wound up gaining 15 yards. So it worked, is the most important thing.
May not have looked pretty, but it was effective. Barasano goes up the middle, gets it to the 16-yard line. 5-yard gain.
Barasano has been getting the bulk of the work as the tailback in the absence of Anthony Okendo. That time he was actually running behind, I believe it's Liam Spencer, lined up as a fullback. No, that's Maz Newton, 52.
This might be the last play of the quarter. Barasano up the middle, still fighting for yardage, keeping his feet moving. Devin Barasano inside the 5.
Devin Barasano with a first down rush for the Red Raiders.
Barasano with the second effort, the third effort, the fourth effort would not be denied until finally an entire host of Warrior players jumped on top of him. Fitchburg wants to get in before the end of the quarter. They can't quite do that. But as we close out the third period here and advance to the fourth, Fitchburg is knocking on the door. Dan, do you remember what I said at the start of this drive? Fitchburg's defense has made 3 critical stops in a row, and the offense needed to reward them for that. They needed to put points on the board. They're 4 yards away.
Just a matter of 3 yards. It's all they need to get on the board, and that missed extra point. Could we see the Red Raiders punish Tantasqua for that?
As the teams take the long walk to the other side of the field, we will pause and thank our football underwriters who bring this and every game to you here on FATV. and they include North End Subaru, located at 757 Chase Road in Lunenburg, IC Credit Union on 300 Bemis Road in Fitchburg, the Grand Rental Station, 88 Massachusetts Avenue in Lunenburg, Romano's Market, 138 Harvard Street here in Fitchburg. Well, not here in Fitchburg, I'm in Worcester for crying out loud. The Neshoba Valley Medical Center, 200 Groton Road in Air, Red Apple Farm, 455 Highland Ave in Phillipston, and of course our alma mater, Fitchburg State University, headquartered 160 Pearl Street in Fitchburg. Fourth quarter underway here at Foley Stadium in Worcester. Fitchburg trailing Tantasqua 20-7. They have a stacked I formation. Maz Newton the carry. Goes to the right side, gets a couple of yards.
Maz Newton on the carry.
Fitchburg came back with that Maryland stacked I formation. 3 men in the backfield, 2 tight ends. They hand it to Newton, the big defensive tackle who also serves as a second fullback. Still in that formation on second down. This time they give to Barasano, running to the left. Barasano lunges forward, and he is in. Touchdown, Raiders! Devin Barasano from a yard and a half out as I trip all over my broadcast colleague's feet. Sorry, Dan, what were you saying?
As you said, the Red Raiders needed to reward their defense for a job well done, keeping the Warriors to 20 points. They've gone and done just that. Barasano gets the finish on that one.
Now Justin Camasano will attempt the extra point. Snap is down, kick is up, and it is through. We are just underway in the fourth quarter. It is a one-score game, and let us now hear from Mr. Touchdown. Great big cheer from the fans on the left side here at Foley Stadium in Worcester. Fitchburg has scored to make it a one-score game, 20-14 Tantasqua, 11:31 to play here in the MIAA Division IV Central Championship game. Justin Camasano will kick it off for the Raiders. Low bouncing kick picked up by one of the upmen at the 30-yard line, and bringing it back to the 40. I believe that was Michael Pelosa, number 88 for Tantasqua, who made the return. Warriors will have it. Pretty good field position. 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line. Fitchburg's defense has made 3 critical stops in a row. If they can make one more, the offense will get the ball back with a chance to take the lead. Dante Reno leads his team to the line. They'll go with an I formation. Sears is the tailback, but the handoff goes to Gore, the fullback, and as the crowd shrieks in joy, you hear he only gains 2 yards.
They found a lot of success on that last drive, giving it to Liam Gore.
That's a lot of success giving it to Gore. You were right.
At that time, he's not able to get a lot of room there, immediately wrapped up by the Raider defense. And Tantasqua's going to be looking to control the clock a little bit here as well, but now only with a 1-score lead.
Gore is the lead tailback. He gets the carry straight up the middle, plunges forward, gets about 3 yards. It's interesting, Dan, even when they go with a single back formation, Gore still lines up very close to the fullback in a more to the quarterback rather, in a more traditional fullback position. He's not set back like you would expect a tailback to be. Gives him a little less chance to build up his momentum, but at the same time, all of a sudden, immediately after the snap, the big man's got the ball.
He's got the ball, just has to drive his feet downfield. And not only that, if he's wrapped up immediately, it minimizes the damage.
3rd and 5, Raiders showing blitz, handoff to Sears, and he's got the first down.
Sears with a 5-yard pickup.
Ryan Sears needed 5, he got 6. Stop the clock, move the chains, 10:09 to play here in the fourth quarter. Tantasqua's got the first down. Maz Newton will head to the sidelines for Fitchburg, take a breather.
I can tell you Anthony Kendo is now being tended to at his ankles, it looks like.
He does have a member of the training squad with him, looking at something on the lower body, probably, as you said, I think it's his right ankle that they're looking at. Okendo without his helmet. We'll see if he returns. Tantasqua 1st and 10 on the Fitchburg 49. It's a fullback trap straight up the middle.
Liam Gore
And
with a
Liam
10-yard
Gore,
rush for the Warriors. Picks
so
up another
hard
first
to
down.
bring down even after you've wrapped him up. Peter Rivera had hands on his jersey, had hands on his legs. He had hands everywhere it's legal to have hands. And he still couldn't bring him down until Gore got another first down.
A 10-yard gain for Gore.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Tantasqua at the Fitchburg 39 now. 4 receivers. Liam Gore still the lone tailback, and he gets the carry. Bursts through the first level, breaks a shoulder block, and lunges forward and is down at the 22-yard line. A free bit of advice to the Raider defenders who can't hear me, but I'm going to give it anyway. You're not going to tackle Liam Gore with a shoulder block.
The best you can do if you're going to do something like that is to try to stunt his momentum, try to get him scrambling. But boy, Gore just, he's got some powerful legs, just moving his feet downfield.
Tantasqua answering back with a vengeance after Fitchburg brought it within a score. Gore is the lone setback, and he gets it once again on first down. This time he's trying to push the whole line by himself, and he only gets about 3 feet out of it. Maybe, we'll call it 2 or 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and a long 7 with 8.5 minutes to play.
Gore now 11 carries for 80 yards. This Tantasqua offense has carried it 40 times for 265 yards in this contest.
Both of these teams want to move the ball on the ground, and right now it favors Tantasqua to do so just to keep the clock moving. This time they have an I formation. Sears is the tailback, but Gore gets the carry once again, and he rolls forward for another 3. Tantasqua's first 2 touchdowns came on plays where they made you think that Ryan Sears was getting the ball, only to hand it to Liam Gore. They try something similar there. Gore gets 3 yards.
With the exception of 1 carry on this drive, it's been all Liam Gore.
They need 4 yards for a first down, and they have 2 cracks at it. It is 3rd and 4. I formation. This time it'll be Sears running to the left. Great blocking. He's got the first down and is inside the 10 before the officials blow their whistles to stop his forward momentum. 7:24 to play. Tantasqua leading 20-14. Again, the winner of this game plays Plymouth South next Saturday. The winner of that game plays Melrose at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough.
A 7-yard gain for Ryan Sears. 7th time today that Tantasqua has converted on 3rd down.
They drop the far stick. It is 1st and goal from the 10. I formation. I think Fitchburg actually stepped into the neutral zone and got away with it there. Reno calling signals. Handoff to Gore, straight up the middle, nothing doing.
Gore on the carry.
Really the first time
gain on the
today
play.
we've seen Gore brought down for absolutely no gain. It'll be 2nd down.
He just committed to running straight up the middle, and there was just no hole there, nothing at all.
As a fan, Dan, you get the feeling that this game hinges on the next 3 plays. If Tantasqua is going to hand it off 3 times, if they get in the end zone, that's it, game over, the Warriors win. If they don't, again, speaking as a fan, I feel like the Raiders are coming back.
2nd and goal from the 10 for
But I'm not
Tantasqua.
supposed to be a fan. I am a play-by-play commentator. 2nd down handoff goes to Sears. Left. He breaks through. He's across the 5 and spun
Ryan
down at the
Sears
3-yard
inside the
line.
5-yard line for the Warriors.
It's a gain of 7. It'll be 3rd
Down at the
and
3-yard
goal
line.
from the 3. Now Tantasqua can do just about anything they want.
The other concern I've got too, a field goal. That would make it a 9-point game with a 20-14 Tantasqua with under 6 to go.
Yep, absolutely right.
Goal from the 3.
Of course, their kickers also missed an extra point, which is why they're only on 20.
Fitchburg's defense has been so good all season. They need another stop to keep their hopes alive. 3rd and goal from the 3. Gore is the fullback, Sears is the tailback. The wide receivers are ancillary. It's a handoff to Sears. He breaks out of one tackle, bounces off a man, bounces off another.
Touchdown,
He is in.
Tantasqua.
Touchdown, Tantasqua.
Ryan Sears, around
Ryan
the left
Sears
edge
would not be
for a
stopped.
3-yard touchdown.
Bounces off a few different tacklers and ultimately finds his way into the end zone for his second touchdown of the day and his 18th touchdown of the season.
Fitchburg crashed down on that play beautifully. At the snap, it looked like it was going to be blown up in the backfield, maybe even not even get the handoff away. But they did get the handoff to Sears. Sears bounced off of two would-be tacklers. Now Tantasqua will attempt a two-point conversion to get out to an even 14, and Sears is brought down there. But it may just be window dressing. Tantasqua has gotten the big job done. It is a two-score game, 26 to 14, 5 minutes, 24 seconds left in potentially the Raiders' season.
Tantasqua looking for their first Central Mass Championship in 10 years. Back in 2008, an undefeated 13-0 Warrior team beat Millbury in the Central Mass Championship and then beat South Hadley in the Central West Championship. That was their last state title as well.
Fitchburg, on the other hand, has not had a state title in 19 years. You have to go all the way back to 2000 when they beat Springfield Central to win what was then the Central West Division I championship.
So many
But we're
things
getting
have
ahead of
changed.
ourselves.
So many things have changed over the years.
It's another low bouncing kick. Barasano lets it go. It goes through the legs of the returner. D. Jones can't pick it up initially. Finally has it. Breaks out of a tackle but trips and falls. He is brought down at the 19-yard line. D. Jones is a little slow to get up and hobble off the field. We'll keep an eye on him. The other big injury news on the Raiders sideline, or question rather, is the health of Anthony Okendo, and he is still without a helmet. He will play no part as the Raiders come to the line.
It's 85 yards to go here, and they need 2 scores.
They need 2 touchdowns as well. It's a 12-point gap. Fitchburg has 5 minutes and 17 seconds in which to close it. 1st and 10 for them at their own 15-yard line. They'll go shotgun. I believe that's Rivera and Barasano in the backfield to either side of Graham. Barasano will get the carry running to the right. He is dragged down from behind after a gain of about 5. Then there's pushing and shoving after the play. A Raider went tumbling. No flags.
Barasano with a carry for the Red
We
Raiders.
saw so many penalties in the first half with these two teams. Ultimately, only a single foul in this second half.
Looked to my eye, Dan, like Barasano was being pulled back by his jersey almost before he turned the corner there. He did a really good job getting about 6 yards as he marches toward the ever-shrinking far stick on the left-hand side there on the far side. I swear that thing gets shorter every time I look at it. Graham wants to throw. He's looking for DeLeon. Pass is horribly underthrown, and it is incomplete. Double coverage.
Dominic Brown and Nathan Winco both there on the double coverage. There was not much hope of that play working.
And Donovan DeLeon, to add injury to insult, immediately grabbed at his right arm and headed to the near sideline in obvious pain. He is replaced. We'll keep an eye on him, see if he gets back on the field. They're tending to his right shoulder now. But it is 3rd and 4 for the Raiders. It could well be the final countdown on the season. Graham under center, rolls to his left, throws to his left, and he throws incomplete, intended for Barasano coming out of the backfield.
4th down and 4.
4th and 4 at the 20 for Fitchburg.
Flying after the play.
There is a flag down. We'll keep an eye. Unsportsmanlike conduct against Tantasqua absolutely huge. Fitchburg was about to face a critical, absolutely must-have fourth down,
conduct penalty against
and now
Tantasqua.
they have a fresh set of downs. 15 yards, first down, here you go.
It's an incredible gift, to say the least. I heard someone out of the mic yelling, "Stop talking." I think presumably a Tantasqua fan shouting from pretty far away,
He's a long way away.
trying to tell his squad, really,
Don't do anything stupid. You're in the driver's seat. You just need to
Penalty
hang
results
on.
in a first down for Fitchburg.
But for Fitchburg, it's
First
new
and
life.
10 from their own
First and 10 at the
36-yard line.
36, 4:17 to play. Graham has Barasano to his left. He rolls left, wants to throw, trying to get rid of it. He
Graham's
is
gonna be
dragged
sacked.
down from behind very awkwardly. Looks like he wants a flag, but he's
Don
not going to
Lawrenson
get it.
with a sack.
it almost seemed like the tackler had him out in a near chokehold, basically, pulling him down like that. But I don't think he grabbed the face mask. Don't
No.
think he grabbed
He
the
didn't
inside
grab
of
the
his
face
shoulder
mask.
pads.
He didn't grab the horse collar.
5-yard loss on the
He
play.
just kind of wrapped his arms around his neck and yanked until he fell down, which is
Second and
perfectly
15
legal.
Upcoming for Fitchburg from their
Hooray,
own
football.
31-yard line. As we're now under 4 minutes remaining in the game.
It's a loss of 4 after the sack. Clock approaches 3.5 minutes to play. Second down and 13. Trips receivers to the far right. Graham rolls in that direction. Gets rid of it. Pass is intercepted.
Graham's pass is
Ryan
intercepted.
Sears picks it off, and that should seal it.
Ryan Sears with the interception for the Warriors.
Fitchburg's offense has lived and died by the ground game all year long, and whenever they go to the air, you always have to wonder what's going to happen. They're down by 2 scores here. They have to throw, and the pass is picked off. Ryan Sears has been a huge part of the offense for Tantasqua, and he makes the biggest defensive play of the season as well, intercepting Montgomery Graham inside Fitchburg territory. And now with 3:26 left to play,
First and 10,
Fitchburg
Tantasqua.
does have all 3 timeouts, and it is a mathematical possibility, but it's little more than that. Liam Gore gets the carry on first down, plunges
Down to the
forward for 8
35-yard line,
yards.
Pick up of 8 on the play.
Dan, you got to think this is a demoralized Fitchburg defense right now, but they need to get a stop if the Raiders are going to have any chance at coming back.
The Raiders have been trying to hold on against this Tantasqua run attack here. My goodness, yeah, the interception hurts, and then some. And for Tantasqua, I imagine they're going to just try to see if they can get more points on the board just to try to put their foot down.
Tantasqua is going to hand the ball off, and whatever they get, they get. The priority for them is hanging on to the football, making Fitchburg burn their timeouts. If they get a couple of first downs, the game is over. They've got one here.
the second down
Liam
carry
Gore
for the
plunges
Warriors.
forward. He's brought down
Across
at the
the 30-yard line
29.
to the 29.
They'll stop the clock just to
Play
move the
results on the
chains with
Tantasqua first
2:40
down.
to play. Fitchburg again does have all 3 of their timeouts, and they take one here.
Timeout taken on the
So
field
now
by
it's a
Fitchburg.
matter of, do the
2:40
math in your
remaining in the
head.
contest.
If Tantasqua gets one more first down, that's all she wrote.
And I imagine with how it is going to be, Tantasqua's probably going to run it 4 times. They probably will run it on 4th down if it comes to that.
Now, they're certainly not going to kick.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats at the conclusion
At the
of today's
shortest, it
championship
would be a
contest. There will be a trophy
37-yard
presentation
field
on
goal.
the field. Again, at the conclusion of today's championship contest, after the
I can
handshake
see
round,
on the
there
near
will be a ceremony
sideline
on the field.
Montgomery Graham being consoled by Tyler Broussard and Anthony Okendo. And one thing that's worth pointing out, none of those 3 are seniors.
No. This core for Fitchburg will be back. This is not the last ride for Montgomery Graham or for Anthony Okendo or for Donovan DeLeon, for that matter, who is just a sophomore. This is a good, young Fitchburg team, and if they don't come back here, and to be perfectly honest, it looks like they won't, they should be back next year.
Tantasqua was a team that at the beginning of the season was expected to get back here after losing in the Division IV Central Championship last year to eventual state champions Neshoba. They were expected to get back to this spot. Meanwhile,
Four
for
on the carry.
Fitchburg, I don't
Head
think
for
a
a gain
whole
of
lot of
1.
people really expected them to get as far as they did.
No,
Second down and
nobody
9 upcoming
expected
from the 28-yard line
Fitchburg
for
to get this
Tantasqua.
far. And if this is as far as they get, they should still be proud because they still made the playoffs and they still got here. And as we said, they're bringing back a lot of their core for next season.
No, I feel the same way with Monty Tech. I don't think anyone expected them to get to the Central Mass Championship in Division 8 either. But
And they will be playing or have already played, depending on when you're watching this, St. Bernard's.
yep, guaranteeing at least Fitchburg gets one Central Mass champion.
2nd down and 9. Sears
Ryan
gets
Sears
the
on the
carry.
carry.
Fitchburg can stop the clock twice more. I don't think they're going to. I think they're well aware of the situation.
You can hear the Fitchburg side has gotten very, very quiet.
It is a quiet crowd here
Miguel
on the
Torres
left
and
side. A
Matt Newton on the
good
stop for
crowd.
Fitchburg on
A
the
lot of
last play.
folks made the way down from Fitchburg, obviously straight down I-190. Heck, that's why I-90 exists, is so that you can get from Fitchburg to Worcester in a straight shot. A lot of people made the trip.
I'm going to call the jump there.
Saw motion on both sides. I think they're going to get it against
Offside
Fitchburg.
penalty against Fitchburg. 5-yard penalty will bring up a 3rd and 3 for Tantasqua.
It's a frustrating end to what has to be a disappointing game for the Raiders. Their defense, which has been so strong all season, concedes 26 points after being backed up on a couple of those, especially the first one. You think back to the opening kickoff, which Fitchburg received and then fumbled. They're actually going to call it a false start against Tantasqua, which at this point is more a matter of record keeping than impact on a football game. But
Penalty's actually going to be levied against Tantasqua.
At the end of the day, I'm still typing it into my book.
absolutely. You're the one keeping the record. It's a matter of record keeping.
Indeed.
It'll make it 3rd and 13 for the Warriors from the Fitchburg 32-yard line.
67 seconds left.
Again, it is Fitchburg can stop the clock 2 more times. Will they choose to? Perhaps. And they do.
Ryan Sears on the carry.
So
Head for a
Sears
gain
is
of 1.
stuffed at the line. Fitchburg will take their second to last timeout.
Timeout
Clock
taken
ticks
on the field
down
by
to
Fitchburg.
57 seconds. Fitchburg will most likely get the ball back. Kind of in a no man's land for Tantasqua. 4th and 12 at the 31-yard line.
I mean, it might score high on the surrender index to punt from your opposition 31, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
No.
If only because you have 12 yards to gain, and frankly, if you want to prevent a miracle from happening, or 2 or 3, it'll be helpful for them if they can pin the Red Raiders deep. And even if it ends up being a touchback, that's still better than where it is now.
That's true. It's an interesting decision for Tantasqua. I'm with you. I think the right call is to punt it. But they're going to go for it, which is also not a bad call.
I don't think you can necessarily be wrong here.
You could try a field goal. That would be wrong at Division IV high school. Sears gets the carry on 4th down.
Ryan Sears with the carry down
Pretty
to the
much the
21-yard
best case
line.
scenario of a failed
10-yard
conversion
pickup
for
on the
them.
play, short of the first down.
Gains 10 yards. He burns 8 seconds off the clock, gets it deeper into Raider territory. But they will flip sides. Fitchburg takes over on downs with a mathematical chance and a little more than that. 49 seconds, 1 timeout. They're down by 2 scores. And they are without Anthony Okendo.
After that turnover on downs, Fitchburg
Donovan
will take
DeLeon
over
is
1st and
back
10
out
from their
on
own
the
21.
field.
49
Saw him
seconds remaining in the game.
nursing a right shoulder injury.
And a reminder to all
Earlier.
attendants, please remain in your seats. Following the game, there'll be a brief trophy presentation.
And we will have that trophy presentation for you here on FATV, assuming Jared doesn't stop recording. Do we have any way of telling Jared not to stop recording? Travis is nodding, so hopefully we do. Montgomery Graham back out on the field. Rolls to his right, throws over the middle. It's behind his receiver and
Graham's pass is
incomplete.
incomplete.
He was trying to hit Darnell Thomas. Thomas is a sophomore as well.
Pass was intended for number 45, Darnell Thomas.
Very different name.
Second down and 10 upcoming for the Red Raiders.
I cannot recall the last time I heard the name Darnell Thomas.
I can tell you, Dan, I've been calling games here on FATV all year. I don't think I've said it once. You get this deep in the game, you get a little thin in the depth chart, you go 4 or 5 wide receivers, you're going to hear some numbers you haven't heard before.
This time the Red Raiders just trying whatever they can for a miracle play. After all, think back to that Westboro game, that long pass to Latrell Bodie.
Try the throwback screen to Thomas this time. He's got it at the 21. He is brought down across the 30 to the 33-yard line. That is enough for a first down, and now there are flags and shoving
and after the play.
More shoving and fists, and this is ridiculous. On both sides, quite frankly. This is, Dan, didn't we just spend the last 5 minutes talking about how much, yes, you must be disappointed, but at the same time, you have to hold your head high and realize that it's been a good season and you're going to be back? I wish somebody had told the guys in red that.
A lot of heated faces. Every penalty flag, I think, at the referee's disposal is on the field.
Some officials are without their hats, so they've called multiple fouls here.
Didn't really think we needed to see a rehash of Cleveland-Pittsburgh.
At least nobody went full Myles Garrett. There's that. To be perfectly honest with you, Dan, it would be well within the officials' purview to end this game right now. There's 30 seconds left. There's 2-score difference. The teams just had a brawl. Are you really going to have them line up and play more football?
Play of the game.
No. They've called it.
Tantasqua, 26,
And to be perfectly honest,
14.
I support that.
It may not be the way that they wanted the game to end, but the Tantasqua Warriors are Central Mass champions for the first time in 11 years.
Congratulations to the Warriors. It was a great season for the Raiders. Obviously not the way you want it to end, either in terms of the game or that final play. But again, it was a fantastic season. We will have the trophy presentation for you. The Fitchburg Red Raiders finish as runners-up in the Division 4 MIAA Central. Congratulations to them on that. And while the teams are lining up, and before we have our trophy presentation, we do have just a little bit of business we want to take care of. Why don't you handle the football underwriters, and then I will thank our annual underwriters.
All right, our football underwriters helping make all of our football telecasts possible this year. IC Credit Union, 300 Bemis Road in Fitchburg, Fitchburg State University, 160 Pearl Street in Fitchburg, North End Subaru, 757 Chase Road in Lunenburg, Red Apple Farm, 455 Highland Ave in Phillipston, Romano's Market, 138 Harvard Street in Fitchburg, Neshoba Valley Medical Center, 200 Groton Road in Ayer, and Grand Rental Station, 88 Mass Ave in Lunenburg.
And of course, we also want to thank our annual underwriters who, in addition to providing support for our football telecasts, bring every production we do at FATV, be it remote or in studio, is brought to you in part by the help of these fine companies who we want to thank now. Thanks to Rollstone Bank, Workers Credit Union, Unitil, Health Alliance Hospital, MART, Fitchburg State University, Minuteman Press, the Sentinel and Enterprise, Hub International, and North End Subaru. Thanks to them so much. And I also, while we have a bit of time here before the trophy presentation, want to thank the FATV staff who came down to Worcester. Obviously, Udan Bolek made the trip from Fitchburg, but Travis Falk and Jared Roberts did as well. Jared has run our camera all day today. He's done a fantastic job. Travis running the audio board, helping set up everything. Every production we do here at FATV has Travis Falk's fingerprints on it, and it makes it a better show. And many times we couldn't do it without him.
Absolutely. I want to thank everyone who helped set things up with the MIAA to make this telecast possible as well.
Yep. Thanks to the MIAA for allowing us to be here, albeit on a 20-hour delay for some reason. And, 1 o'clock, 10 o'clock, it's a 21-hour delay. we'll say. But still, thanks to the MIAA for letting us be here.
Need some final numbers. Should we go over those?
Absolutely.
So Tantasqua finishes 51 carries for 313 yards, 4 catches for 27 yards. That's a total of 340 yards of offense for Tantasqua. We'll take a pause here.
Fitchburg and Tantasqua communities, I'd like to congratulate both the Red Raiders from Fitchburg High School and the Warriors from Tantasqua Regional, the coaches and their players for today's outstanding performance. Congratulations to both teams. The quality of play today was superb and your sportsmanship commendable.
Was it, though?
At this time, I would ask the captains and the head coach of Fitchburg to come forward to receive their finalist trophy. Presenting the award is Brian Davis, the MIAA representative for today's game and the athletic director from Auburn High School. Congratulations to the Fitchburg Red Raiders for a fantastic season and a trip to the Division IV Central Championship game. And now and at this time, I ask the captains and the head coach from Tantasqua Regional to come forward to receive the MIAA Division IV Central Mass Championship Trophy.
Congratulations in order to the Warriors of Tantasqua Regional High School. They move to 8-2 on the season. They will play Plymouth South next Saturday for a berth at Gillette. For the Raiders, the regular season for them, the playoff run comes to an end here, but there is still one more game to play. Dan?
Thanksgiving on the 28th against Leominster, 10 a.m. from historic Crocker Field.
I will have the call. Mike Flynn will have the call. Dave Clark will have the call. You will be there as well, I believe.
I will be in the truck putting up graphics.
We hope to see all of you there. But until then, for Dan Bolak, Travis Falk, Jared Roberts, all of us here at FATV, I'm John Gugerty saying thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time right here on FATV.